Hello guys, I thought this would be a good opportunity to have a little talk about the Harley Davidson. We haven't had a video out for a while. This will be a longer video. We take you through part one and part two. But before we do any of that, let's have a little look around what is left to do, what I want to do next, and what will be coming up in future videos for my 1983 Harley Davidson Electric Glide. I'm Dino, welcome back to Patches Repair Shop, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button, comment and like. We are trying to hit 1,000 subscribers by the 31st of December 2024. So let's have a little look around, guys. So first up, guys, will be in the next video, we're going to get this seat sorted out. I've got an original one for it. I have managed to find one of them. I am still missing this panel. I've got two broken ones, but I've got a plan and I've organised for that panel to be scanned so that we can 3D print it. So I'm going to sort out the seat, sort out this panel and do something with these two panels to make it all nice along here. So that'll be coming up in probably the next video, along with getting the side panels off, getting these panniers off, the side panels, the front fairing, and getting all these parts painted up. So front mudguard has already been painted up, the rear top box has already been painted up. I want to turn some nice little aerials up for here on the lathe, and obviously this pannier as well, because it's a different color, because I had to source a new lid. But what have we got to show you? What's coming up in the rest of this video? You're going to be able to see us rebuilding this primary drive, this side, plus the problem we had with the gearbox. It's got a new chain and sprocket on there. We have still got a problem with oil leaking from the primary drive, which is what we was trying to eliminate. Now I think that the problem might be because this bike has been converted from a self-oiling primary drive system to a sealed oil bath. It's been done, but there's no vent in the case anywhere at all. And it has been pointed out to me by the nice guys on the Harley Davidson forum here in the UK that that could be my problem. So, because every seal, gasket, as you're going to see in a minute, has been replaced. Okay, so we've still got to have a look at that, but the moment the bike's riding, I can top the levels up and she's still on the road, and we've done a couple of big road trips this year and she hasn't let me down. So ultimately we've sorted out the problem that we had with gearbox, where I couldn't go back down the gears, but I have still got to rectify a massive amount of play in the two bushes here, so that will be coming up. And generally just sorting out some of the bits on this bike that are grubby. The frame's grubby and scratched and needs painting. Loads of bits. Look, you can see the tank, but that's going off to be repainted. But we've done the brakes, we've done the front tyre, the front mudguard's been repainted. There's a panel here on the front headlight surround panel that is cracked. Oh, it's just started raining, fantastic. This is cracked, I can't find one anywhere. It looks like it's going to have to be a repair. Do we get this repainted in silver or do we go black? Let me know in the comments below, I'm not sure. So loads of little bits and bobs I want to get sorted out. I'd love to tidy up some of these pipes and wires around here, but there's just a lot of them, so I don't know if we'll get there. So enjoy the rest of the video, guys, where you can see what we've done so far. This is one of my favourite additions so far, the moon cover, and I want to put another one on the other side to replace the derby cover, because I think they're really cool. So yeah, check it out, guys. Check out the rest of the video so you can see what we've done, and that just gives you a quick heads up of what we've done so far. And we've managed to keep it on the road at the same time, which is really, really nice. So Enjoy the rest of the video, guys. And if you are in the UK and you do know where I can source maybe a nice one of these panels, or know anyone who's got one of these breaking, then drop us a comment below. There was no top box or queen seat. Not sure what they refer to it as on a Harley. Let me know in the comments below. Anyway, I have purchased the top box for it off a 2008 model, and I've made some brackets to fit that to the bike. So that's rectified that problem. You can see somewhere on the screen now, you can see me stripping that down. That's also gone off to the body shop to be painted in black. So that's that. There's a panel missing here. Have we said that? I think we've said that. This is cracked because it weighs, I don't know, 1,000,000 ton, and I dropped it, and that is my bad. That's cracked. Everything is filthy dirty, and needs a real good clean. So let's just give you a quick update of what has been done so far. Indicators have been rewired, so they're working. The front tyre has been replaced because it's square, and apparently that doesn't work. Bought a new back box. Front mud guard and back box have been stripped down. They've gone off to the body shop. Put a new battery on, including a C-Tech charger connection. I've cleaned out the oil gauze because I had low oil pressure, and it was completely blocked, and it's the oil gauze that is just down here that feeds the top end of the engine. I've replaced the rear shocks and springs for standard ones, and not the air shocks, because they were leaking and I haven't been able to find any yet. What we need to get done in this video, because me and my partner are hoping, don't know if we're going to get it done, to take this bike to the Isle of Man TT. We're all booked up. We've got our ferry all sorted, so hopefully I can get the bike done. I've got to get the front mud guard and the top box back from the body shop, build them up and get them on. I've got to replace the front brake pads. I need to sort out an oil leak from the primary drive side, and I need to get that gearbox back together, and the selector drum back in there, and all the rest of it. I already have all the parts. Don't find them that easy to find with this bike, which is definitely a downside to little projects like this when you're at home. But I actually managed to get all the parts I needed from a company called W&W Cycles in Germany, and I'll pop a link to those guys below. So let's crack on and see if we can get it done in time for the Isle of Man. So because I'm decorating through the letterbox here, guys, I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. So this is actually the worn component. This is the new one, but this is the bit that was the problem. This fits on here with a washer and a circlip, and then it's under tension up here. And this runs on the top here. This is the selector drum. So you can see where the selectors here run inside this selector drum. And this piece here, it's a pull and a push, if you like. Selector pull is what it's called. Runs around the top here, and it was slipping before. If you watch my original video when I took it apart, and there's a link to that below, you will see it slipping when it was all built back up. Now, because it's such a tight space, because the gearbox is still fitted to the bike, I am going to use the power of the internet to get this back together so that you guys can see it all back together. So 1, 2, 3. So all back together, guys. Cleaned up the gasket surfaces, changed the selector pull, new circlip, put new gearbox oil in while the top's off, as you can see. I'm going to pop the top on now. It does appear to have solved the problem, but I won't know until I take it for a quick spin around the block, which I will do before I do anything else. But it is nasty in here, so I'm gonna scrape all that out, give it a good degrease, and let it soak for a bit. And while that's doing that, we'll go in the garage because one of the bearings in the front of the starter motor also needs replacing, because when I removed the starter motor it was all in pieces. So while that's degreaser's soaking in, let's go and change that bearing in the starter motor. So what we've got to do here, guys, is, and apologise, my microphone stopped working for some reason, so I've got a voiceover. I've sped the video up here. The needle roller bearing that was ordered to fit around the small gear inside the starter motor, which I found was completely disintegrated when I took the starter motor out, it was wrong. So I've ended up ordering 2 or 3. They've all been wrong. So what I've ended up doing is stripping the starter motor down, which coincidentally I didn't have any problems with, so I couldn't have told you that there was a problem with that needle roller bearing. So I'm just trying it on there. It's the wrong one, it doesn't fit. So what I've done to start a motor back up with the new bronze oiler bush in the end of it. The main bearings in the starter motor are fine, so I don't think we're going to have too many issues. So just going to pop the starter motor back together, then give it a good scrub and a clean up, because again, something else that's absolutely caked in 41 years worth of muck and oil. So just popping that starter motor back together with a new bushing, and we need to fit it, and hopefully it works. So stick around and let's see if it will still turn the bike over, or whether we need to go hunting for a new starter motor. So just giving all the parts a good clean up before they go back on, and then I'll give the starter motor a good clean up in general. So, all back together, guys. Gearbox is back together, new oils in it, new gaskets. Starter motor's back on that you saw us put the new bearing in. It's wired up, the side panels are off, seats are off at the moment. But before I go any further, I just want to see if it will start over. So it's absolutely stone cold, hasn't been started since last August. So there is fuel in it. So let's see if that starter motor will do its job and turn over. So that's the result, guys. I wasn't expecting it to fire up that easy, but no reason why it shouldn't really. So what I'm going to do now is I do want to take it around the block and make sure that the gearbox is okay before I go ahead and do the brakes and do the primary drive oil leak. So let's make sure the gearbox is okay first, because we could be stripping that primary drive out twice otherwise. So thanks for watching so far, guys. Don't forget to smash that subscribe button. It really helps me out, and obviously it is free of charge as well. Let's give it a quick wash down, quick jet wash off, stick these side panels on and give it a whiz around the block and see what's happening. So guys, just got back from the first road test, done about 10-15 miles, something like that, and there's good news and there's bad news. The good news is the gearbox does seem to be rectified. There's no oil leaks from the gearbox, it's going up and down the gears perfectly, which is a huge tick in the box because that was making it really uncomfortable to ride. So that's the good news. The bad news is the primary drive is still leaking, and now I'm starting to wonder if something else is going on, because my oil level appears to go down a lot quicker than my primary drive oil level, yet all the oil is leaking out the primary drive. So have I got a crankshaft oil seal problem leaking directly into the primary drive? So let's have a look now, see where it's leaking from, and we can go from there. So we appear to have an oil leak here from what I believe is some form of inspection cover on the primary drive. You can still see there's an oil leak there, and there appears to be an oil leak down here. So I have got a complete gasket set from W&W Cycles that's got all the gaskets in there. I need to remove gear lever, foot plate, side stand, get it stripped out. Let's see if that crankcase oil seal is leaking as well, and we can replace that at the same time. So let's get cracking. So let's have a chat while we do this, guys. There's Christ, bit of play in there. There is a backstory to this primary drive. Last year when I first got the bike, between the primary drive and this casing, there was 3 gaskets and a hell of a lot of sealant all the way around. It was leaking, as you'd imagine, but it wasn't actually leaking that bad. I stripped it all off, cleaned it all up, replaced the gaskets, and things seem to get a lot worse. And what I have suddenly been noticing is that the oil comes out of here, it's leaking bad. But I never have to top the primary drive oil up. The oil level never ever goes down. And it's not leaking a little bit, it's leaking a lot. So but the oil that I do need to top up is the engine oil. And I'm wondering if the crankshaft oil seal has gone here, inside here, just here somewhere. When we get in there, we'll see it. Is it filling the primary drive up? So A, it's overfilled with oil, which isn't going to help matters, and B, it's obviously got an oil leak as well. So I'm hoping that it can all be replaced from this end, but we will have to wait and see. Now, what you'll see here, guys, is that there is a load of slop. There's 2 bushes that sit inside this casing, and let me tell you now that when I first got this, it was a lot worse than that. There was no bushes in there. Somebody had packed it out with O-rings to try and get rid of all the clay in it. Obviously, that doesn't work. And for the life of me, I've never been able to find the correct bearings. I've got a new shaft that's in the garage. I've never been able to find Found a bearing that fits here, but I can't find a bearing that goes over the new shaft and in the casing. So if any of you guys can shed any light on that, that would be good. So in my wisdom, I put my jack exactly where the drain bung is for the primary drive, which was really clever of me. So now we're going to have to put a tray underneath, and hopefully we don't make too much of a mess. So first of all, I've definitely got a leak from here, so this has got to come out. Now you're going to see some nasty sealant here, and that was a very quick last ditch attempt from myself before I went away for a weekend last year to try and stop it leaking. So apologies for the mess you're going to see there, but it carried on leaking and I just had to keep checking the levels when I was away. Never let me down. But you do get bored of people saying, your bike's leaking oil, mate. So here comes the mess. I have to admit, I did not want to make as much mess as that, but it is what it is. Now I think, and I need to have a look, I think that the instructions, or the manual, sorry, tells you to fill the primary drive oil level up to the bottom of this basket via the derby cover, if my memory serves me correctly. Need to double check that one. Now, what it doesn't state, I don't think, is whether the bike is straight on a lift like this or whether it's sitting over on the side stand. That will obviously have an effect on where that level is. So I've constantly had a feeling that have I overfilled it? Because it works least. It leaks worst when the bike has stopped and you put it on the side stand. That's when you really notice it leaking. So what I need to do now, guys, is I suppose now I need to get this front gear off. So I need to get this hub off of here. And have a look behind there. I'm wondering if this needs some form of timing. I don't think so, but I don't know. I reckon we can probably just take it apart as it is. So I may just need to do a little bit of research there. There's no reason why I can think of at this exact moment in time as I'm speaking as to why that would need any form of timing, but okay, let's take that off and have a look, see what we've got behind there. It doesn't look too bad. Let's see what happens. Pretty sure this one is left down thread. There you go. Here she goes. Try not to damage anything. Happy days, one oil seal. I've always found that's pretty much the best way to do it. Feels pretty hard. The spring's still in there. The rubber does feel pretty hard though. But like I said, we're there. Let's change it anyway. No, that's completely the wrong tools for the job, guys. But my seal driver set doesn't have a centre bore big enough to fit over that shaft, and I don't have a socket big enough, which would have done the job nicely. But that's in there, that's not going anywhere. It's a nice tight fit, so yeah, that'll be all right. So what I've done, guys, is got a 1 7/8" socket, cut it down. Thought I'd be able to do it in the lathe, couldn't. Had to do it with the angle grinder, so I've cut that down. That fits on there, and then I've got a plethora of duplicate sockets from over the years. So I was going to weld a bit of tube. I think this way might be stronger, so that's got a 1/2 inch drive in the end of it. So I'm just going to weld that onto there, and hopefully it's enough to do the job. So guys, doesn't have to be pretty, thank God, just has to work. So still a bit warm actually. So pretty sure from what I've read, this is left hand thread, so righty loosey. Happy days. So let me give you guys a little summary of what's going on. As you've just seen, I stripped the rear wheel out because I wanted to replace the rear socket, because replacing the chain, replacing the front socket, you know, got to be done at the same time. It's a 48 tooth rear sprocket with a hub on it, because this bike originally had an enclosed chain case with, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong guys, obviously, a self-oiler system to that chain case. It had an oil seal around this hub, and this obviously bolts to the wheel, as you've just seen me take it off. These are obsolete, and I could barely find a picture of one let alone one for sale. Did find two for sale. New old stock. One is 375 euros, one is $450. Neither would help me because I haven't got enough time. We're trying to go to the Isle of Man TT. So this is where the guys at AFB Motorcycles in Bridgewater, excuse me, where they stood in. They machined it off for me and machined the centre out of a standard sprocket from a slightly later bike, and they've re-welded that on there for me. So huge shout out to them for, you know, if you need to go there to get your Harley parts, to get your bike serviced, worked on, whatever it might be, really knowledgeable, great prices. They supplied me the rest of the parts I need for the primary drive as well. Most of them they had in stock, which is fantastic. So highly recommended, guys. Not sponsored, just a big shout out for helping me out in such a small time scale. So let's crack on, guys. Let's get this fitted back onto the bike, and then we can go ahead and get that primary drive back on. Right guys, so that's the rear wheel back in. Going to leave the spindle loose. Well, just nipped it up because obviously I need to move it, line it up and adjust the chain. And we've got to get the front primary drive back together first before we can do that. So just nip that up. What you didn't see is, as per usual, while the wheel was out, gave the wheel a good degrease and clean, all under the rear mudguard, the subframe. Tried to get in everywhere and clean all the muck off, which slowly is making it a lot easier to work on. Right, let's start by getting this back together, but first of all we need to get all these old gaskets off. My least favourite job. And then we've got to try and remember how it all went back together. Can any of you lot remember? Oh no. That's not okay. Wrong front sprocket. So, in the absence of a front chain sprocket, let's get the brake pads done. Give the forks a clean up. Let's get the wheel out for a minute. Alright, well, it's all absolutely minging, as you can see, so let's start by cleaning it all off a bit. Right, now just got to knock the little locking tabs over. Yes. Right guys, so that's the front pads done and bearings greased up, the repainted front mud guards on. I haven't put the front bumper, big American front bumper trim on, but I have it, and the captive bolt is still there, but I quite like it without, so kind of just going to have to keep chipping away at little jobs now until we can finish this off, because that sprocket's wrong. So that's the front mud guard on, that's the front brakes done. I just want to, I haven't got a new one of these headlight surrounds, which is a shame, but never mind, can't do it all before we go. So in the absence of the right socket, I've got two on their way, they're just not going to arrive in time, so the old one's got to go back on with a new chain and a new rear sprocket. I reckon about 1,000-ish miles I'm probably going to do on this road trip, so let's hope it's okay, and then we'll have to strip it out and put the new one on when we get back, which is a shame, but these things happen. So I've not been looking forward to this, guys. So clutch basket fits over here, as you can see, it's just sitting on a tiny lip, and then there is a little pot full of needle roller bearings that fit all the way around here. So this looks like it might be a little bit of a game. So let's see how we get on. I haven't put the inner primary drive on. Ducking owl. Alright, let's try again, guys. Had a cup of coffee, had a break. Let's put the primary drive on now. So I've whipped the clutch back off. So I've got two O-rings here that have got to go around here. One thick, one thin, if you can see that. Apparently it will become obvious when I try and fit this on which one it is. So it never had one on there previously. It was just, if you remember from part one, just absolutely full of gunk. So let's see. That's the thicker one. So I don't know if you can see that. That's with the thicker gasket. There's a gap, and I'm worried about cracking the casing if I pull that in with the bolts. Let's try the thinner one. Yeah, the thinner one definitely feels better, and the gap is closer, so no risk of me cracking anything, hopefully, when I put it back together. And obviously, hopefully it's oil tight. I really do not want to crack any of these casings, which I'm hearing is quite common. Right guys, so I've jumped ahead a little bit off of camera. I think the last thing you saw, we had all this back together, and then the following morning the correct sprocket arrived. So off camera I've taken it all off again. I've put a new front sprocket on. I've sorted out had to take a couple of links out the chain, and I've re-riveted the chain. So that's done. I put new clutch plates in as well, as it was all coming apart again. So now outer primary drive cover, derby cover, inspection cover, gear linkage, foot plate, side stand, and then maybe we can run it round the block. Okay, let's get it done. Got a battery on. Let's see if it'll start. This is gonna upset the neighbours. Well, she runs. Gonna run it round the block. Got a little cover to try on here. It's never had one on here, and I know this bike has got a lot bigger problems, but try and tidy it up a little bit. Right guys, so we're burning a bit of midnight oil now, so I'll keep my voice down because of the neighbours and that, but had to do a bit off camera because it's getting really late and needed to get it done. But primary drive all back together, clutch adjusted, new chain, new sprockets, all the seals, all the stuff you saw in the first part of the video and part one of this series, if you like. Top box is back on. That's looking really good now. It's the right colour. I've been for a ride. It's not leaking oil. That's good, obviously. I might need to adjust the carb a little bit. Apart from that, I'm pretty happy. So I'm going to get cleaned up and I'll see you when the daylight is back out. Hi guys, just had a really successful road test. Gearbox feels good, primary drive isn't leaking, clutch is feeling good, brakes are feeling as good as they're ever going to feel on this bike, I think. So really chuffed. Looks like the bike is pretty much ready to go to the Isle of Man. Loads of things left to do on this bike when we get back, get the rest of the paintwork done, loads of other bits I want to do to make it nice. Get rid of this seat, get the original one back on there for starters, trim panel here where my hand is and all the rest of it. But if you've made it this far guys, thank you very much for watching. Thank you to everyone who's subscribed so far, and if you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget it's free of charge, so smash that subscribe button, leave us a comment and hit that like button. Cheers guys.